everybody, happy new year. It's January the 2nd 2019 now, and I decided that I would start vlogging again, but I have been so poorly in the last 6 months. So much has happened as well, but it's kind of impacted that I'm kind of refocusing my YouTube channel. I realised that I, as an MAE sufferer, hi, I'm Jay, I have CFSME, that's chronic fatigue syndrome, stroke myalgic encephalomyelitis, oh my god, I actually said it, and fibromyalgia. In the last 4 months I've also been diagnosed with joint hypermobility syndrome, and that may or may not be Ehlers-Danlos. I'm still waiting to see the specialist for that, so that's been like interesting. And in fact, in the last like 5 months, I've seen cardiologists, I've seen neurologists, I've seen rheumatologists, my normal doctor. It's just been crazy. I understand a lot more about myself right now, which is great, because the refocus of this channel is going to be about me and my kind of vaguely functional ME life, and trying to focus this year on getting my health back. Yesterday I did the New Year's double park run. Now, before I was ill, I was an avid runner, loved my running, and so much so that I started out at Andover Park Run years and years ago, before Salisbury had a park run. I now live in Salisbury. I did live in Andover at the time, and when I moved up to Salisbury and I joined the running club, I don't run with a running club anymore, but I joined the running club and I made friends, and you know, we kept saying, well, wouldn't it be really good if Salisbury could have a park run? So about 4 years ago we started talking about it and we started investigating it. So the long and the short of it, Salisbury now has a park run, and I, as the RD yesterday said, I'm one of the originals. I'm one of the ones that helped set up Salisbury Park Run. I wasn't a big part of it, even then a little bit ill, but my touches are there. One of the things I wanted was it to be super inviting and super kind of in the runner. It wasn't just about runners, it's about walkers too, and anybody can go, and that's what we all kind of went, yeah, that's what we want Salisbury to be like. It's not going to be somewhere you could go super fast, but you can also, we just celebrate the person who crosses the line and has walked all the way, the whole 5k, because that's an achievement too. And it's really about being at your own pace and doing things in your own time, and you never have to park run. It's a walk, a jog, or a run, depending on, or a walk run, or a walk jog, or any of those combinations. So anyway, yesterday I did vlog my New Year's double, because it was also a very special one. Although my husband started park run 3 years after I did, because I've been so ill, I have only just got to my 100, so it's 100 park runs achieved. He did his in August actually, so yeah, that kind of gives you an indication of how ill I've been over the past few years. And I got to, I kept injuring myself early on when I was running fast, and I think that's probably more down to the joint hypermobility. It kind of makes sense, that's why I'm permanently doing soft tissue injuries and IT band issues and things like that. So part of my focus, my intention for this year is my health, but one of those is my strength training. I think I did myself a bit of damage by over flexing and overworking my flexibility, doing my yoga course, because obviously I was doing yoga every single day, which was great, but it meant that my hip started clicking out. So I'm now under physio for that, because my hips were clicking, literally. Even when I was out there, my right hip clicked fully out at one point and then clicked back in. It was just an amazing feeling when it went back in. It was so relieving. Then my left hip went, and then my right hip went again. And they were partial, they're called subluxations. I do it to my jaw as well. And it's, when the physios looked at me, I only have 5 out of 9 on the Baton scale. So I am hypermobile, but not to, you know, you see people that's elbows bend the other way, and I have slightly sway back knees, but they don't go the other way, which is probably why I've got to as old as I am with it not being diagnosed properly. But at the same time, if I over flex all the time, then that's when I kind of start subluxing. So strength training this year, which I'll get onto in a minute. Yeah, it's been a bit of a challenge. 2018 was a challenge. So 2018, we moved. This is obviously somewhere entirely different. We downsized to get rid of our mortgage. So we now live in a more modest, but very lucky, very grateful, because we now own this house outright. It's a 3-bedroom, detached with a little garage. It's perfect for us. It's not too big, it's not too small, it's easy to look after. You can hoover it in one like hoover bag, and we have a dog. She molts everywhere. Sheppy's molt. That's the thing that if you've got German Shepherds, they molt everywhere, and it's not about hoovering, it's about mowing the inside. So yeah, it's so much nicer and so much easier, so much lower maintenance. And crucially for me, because of the fibromyalgia, I get really cold, and getting really cold makes me really, really ill as well. So yeah, we moved. Obviously that's super stressful on the body. And then of course, almost straight off the back of that, I went out to Turkey and did my 200 hours. And that, I came back very knowledgeable, but it was not the experience that I had hoped for. And it was not, yeah, it was very much not. Came back disappointed and upset, and wasn't the experience I wanted. But I'm still glad I've done it, and I've got my 200 hours. And as I said, I came back super knowledgeable. The anatomy and physiology was brilliant, and all of that side of things. There were just other things that were really difficult for me to deal with. But you know, you live and you learn and you grow, and it was an experience, and I'm super grateful to have now got all the work in for that as well, because what I didn't know was I had to get back and I had to do absolutely tons and tons of works that was still left over, and I submitted that at sort of right at the end of November, and I've definitely passed the Yoga Alliance 200 hours, and I, being me, you know, typical ME sufferer, you know, one thing isn't big enough, push yourself to do both, and I had the opportunity to do a double diploma. So of course, yes, I did the double diploma, and I'm waiting for the level 3 YMCA yoga teacher as well. And then when that finished, apart from, you know, having been super ill, trying to get through all that, yeah, I ended up getting some overwork, and so I was working about 16, 18, 20 hours, especially over December, which is really too much for me. I can't do anything else other than that. And I was watching my overnight heart rate go down. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm Julia Elizabeth on 77 on Instagram, and you will discover that when I am getting poorly, my resting heart rate drops. So when I'm healthy and I'm happy, like today, my average heart rate overnight was about 63 beats per minute. That's when my resting heart rate sits. That's great. That's where I was before I was ill. Now, if I start getting poorly, that starts dropping. It goes below 60 beats per minute. When I start getting really, really poorly and I must only rest. This is one of the reasons I ended up with cardiology. I got super poorly and my heart rate dropped to 45 beats per minute at rest. I can't function. And of course I couldn't stand up. I was so poorly. Now, when I first got ME and I was under bath, I mentioned that my heart rate was going at 60 beats per minute when I was really tired. And I was still lifeguarding at the time, and that's a really bad thing because I was getting super dizzy as well. It's one of the reasons I stopped lifeguarding. I still have my tickets, so I can still do the training, but I don't actually actively lifeguard unless we're really, really short. I don't have my own lifeguarding shifts anymore. But I do, you know, I hop on poolside and lifeguard for a bit, and that's fine because I'm not that ill anymore, like that ill, and then needing to be, because I can obviously say no if there's a problem in the building. But yeah, one of the things I discovered when I first got ME was my heart rate would drop, and I'd be standing up and I'd get super dizzy and I'd feel really, really rough and ill. And of course, being a runner, Christmas last year, my husband got me my Garmin, and this one tracks my heart rate, and that's why he got it, because we wanted to actually track what was going on with my heart rate. And it turns out that, yeah, when I get tired, my resting heart rate, my heart rate doesn't beat as fast. It doesn't like to. It's a bit lazy. It gets tired like the rest of me, and it seems to slow down. When I went to the group that I went to manage your CFSME, they said, oh no, that's normal. I said, yeah, great. Somebody explain this one to me. And I haven't really gotten to the bottom of it. But of course, when I got super ill, sort of end of September, sort of October time, and it was starting to drop below 55, and it was below 50, and obviously I then couldn't stand up. I was like standing at the fridge, and suddenly my heart rate would drop to 55 beats per minute, and I'm walking around and nearly fainting because it just no blood to my head. And cardiology was super. They saw me in like 3 days flat, and they went, yeah, we can see what it is. And I had at that point, by the time I got to them, I'd been really resting, and it had started to raise up, and they said, oh no, we know what your problem is. We don't know why, but we know what your problem is. Your heart, there's nothing wrong with your heart. Your heart's phenomenal. Keep doing what you're doing. I suppose that's all the running and things. Super healthy heart, which was also nice because I used to smoke. As a dancer, I smoked, and I was a bit worried. Obviously, I'd done some damage, but turns out I've probably given up early enough and long enough now that it's all resetting. So, you know, if you're ever in doubt about giving up smoking, it took me years and years of yo-yo smoking to actually get rid of it. But it's really worth it, because if you do it, your body does heal itself. It really will, you know, get rid of the damage you are doing to yourself right now. So yeah, that's on the side. You know, I am, you know, also I'm Jay, and I'm a recovering, you know, nicotine addict, and I always will be. And I know that. I can't bear to see the New Year's things about give up smoking. It riles me even now. It's years now. Anyway, going back to the heart. Yeah, cardiology got me in, and they tested it, and they said, well, you've got really low blood pressure. Even under the kind of stress of being cardiology, it was like 105 over 73 or something like that. And that was at, you know, 63 beats per minute. So what they think happens is when they don't deny that my heart rate slows down. We've got all the evidence, and I've got all the traces because of the Garmin. And they went, well, what happens is they have no idea why my heart rate. That's going to be elsewhere. It's not anything to do with my heart or the signals. That will be the ME, because obviously ME said no, that's normal. That's that happens with ME. People's heart rates slow down. You get bradycardia. Joy. Nobody ever tells you that one. But yeah, they went, what happens is that when my heart rate slows down, and then my already low blood pressure gets lower. And of course that's where the dizziness is, and that's by the point that it's 45 beats per minute, I can't stand up. And I can't get it to elevate enough to actually push my blood pressure up enough to actually feel like a normal human being. So yeah, that's kind of where the mess of last year, and that's why I stopped vlogging entirely. ME, you know, as much as I tried to deny it, it really did take over my life. But one of the great things from yesterday, and yesterday's double, which is in editing, and hopefully I'll get it edited today, and I think I'm going to call it, because this is what a friend said to me yesterday from Andover, because they obviously known about my health difficulties, and he went, got 99 problems, but the 100 ain't one. And I think that one's going to be the title of yesterday's vlog. It's a bit weird because I'm trying to vlog on the run. Literally at one point I tried to vlog running on my first 5k. So yeah, it's going to be a new and interesting one, but 99 problems, but the 100 ain't one. I've got there now. And that's where I wanted to start the year with a bit of a bang, because I don't do resolutions. I've decided not to do resolutions. You can't do a resolution with ME because you're going to fail. What I've done is set an intention for the year, and the intention is to work on my health and getting back to fitness. So my New Year's intention, and I think with an intention, it really gives you a direction of travel. And with ME, you have to do that in your own time and your own space, at your own pace. So for instance, with the 100, now I've probably been doing parkrun, probably about 5 years now, I hate to think. And I've only just got to my 100. it was a direction of travel. So that's where I've gone. And I got there eventually, but I did do it very much at my own pace, and it was occasionally painful to watch people overtake me and get their hundreds and go further. Even my own husband, who spent the first 3 years of my, going back to running after I stopped dancing, going running's a sin against nature, he got there first. It's one of those things. So my intention this year is to increase my health. And one of the great things about yesterday is, completely unexpectedly, another runner that I used to run with club, and she got ME before me, and she reached out when I got it myself from friends on Facebook. And she turned up. She hasn't been running for about 3 years, and she's just started again. She did the New Year's double, and she's a lovely, lovely lady. And she was super, super poorly with it, but really wanted to understand it. She just trained as a solicitor. She's quite young, and she just trained as a solicitor. And I think she's right. She said she was writing, but she's the first person I've actually met that is properly in remission now. She can work full time, and that's something to inspire me with for my year. Is that, yeah, people do, even people that were super, super, super poorly, they can go into remission. Sorry, this is my coffee with my D-Ribose in it, because D-Ribose helps the energy levels. So that's one thing I did pick up. So yeah, to see this lovely lady and to just sit there and chat with her, and I can't wait for her book to come out, because I want to read it as well. She's a lot of it. She's almost doing similar things before, but with a different mindset. So that will be, she's really looked into the psychology of it. And I think that's immense. Whereas I'm going to look into, for me, the physicality. And one of the things that I said to her yesterday, and the things, because I come from a very physical background, I was a dancer, runner, I teach swimming, I now teach yoga as well. I've got my first class next week. Super excited. But obviously, as an ME sufferer, we both came into this very fit. And I know the GET is completely the wrong thing, this graded exercise therapy. But obviously you can't, the more you stay still, the worse it gets. So there's got to be an in-between. So, if you're bedbound and you're following me, guys, don't overdo it. And that's where I use my watch and my heart rate to say, can I exercise today? Yes, I can. So today I'm feeling a bit lazy, because I did run 10k yesterday. It was the longest I've run since September. I barely run. I'm quite lucky that I'm a natural runner, and it's obviously been in my body for a long time, so picking up slowly. I'm not just nowhere near as fast. I just plod now, but that's fine. It's my own pace. So I had to very much check my watch overnight. Okay, average heart rate last night was 63. That's good. That's a really good one. So in a minute I am going to do some stretching and a little bit of yoga. I've kind of lost my yoga mojo. I've lost my mojo for everything at the moment. So I'm trying to get that back as well. And that's part of the problem, is sometimes it's fighting yourself. And I've really, really, really my body has really deconditioned over the last 3 months or so. And so I'm going to have to get that back. But if you are bedbound, you probably decondition quite a lot. So you know what? Tiny, tiny, tinies. Do not wear yourself out. It's not worth killing yourself over, because, that's why people's hearts stop. But anyway, yeah, basically I'm going to drag you with me for the next year and see where I get, and see where I overcook it, because I have a tendency to overcook it and do too much. And also, see where I can pick up and get some of my old life back. And this year is about health, but it's also finding balance, because the things I love doing are mainly all active. And I'll be brutally honest that over the last year, when I was really poorly, and I had fibro for 20 odd years, so I danced with that. I danced with fibromyalgia. I ran with the fibromyalgia. I was really successful with the fibromyalgia. It's the ME that's really kind of kicked my legs out from underneath me. So yeah, this is where it's kind of, I've got to focus on the wellness and the health aspects. And so I've lost what I was saying. because I get brain fog. Anyway, it's not just about the health and well-being of my physical, it's my mind as well, and that's something I learned really much from Laura, so give a sec. I've also started, there's an article about mental health and journaling. Oh, I know where I was going with it. So I've got myself a journal for this year, because obviously I had a journal for my my yoga course, and that's obviously gone off to be marked and things, but obviously that was focusing on the benefits of meditation and yoga practice and stuff like that, and it really, it helped me understand what was going on with my body. I'm really focusing on that, and that was very useful, but it's not going to help the journey that I'm looking at the moment, and that's what I'm going to journal about as well. So I really look at where I'm going, my thoughts, my feelings. That's where I was going out it. I've always been a really, really active person. When I was younger, during my growth spurt, I started developing musculoskeletal in both knees, because I was doing 7 different types of dancing, I was doing gymnastics, and I was running. I was that child that never ever sat down and stayed still. So for somebody like me to get ME is devastating. It's devastating for anybody. My uncle and my cousin have it, and my cousin was pretty active too, and so was my uncle, but not quite to the obsessive thing that they got a degree out of it kind of level. And yeah, I have to say there have been times this year the fibro's been bad, the ME has been bad, the bradycardia knocks me sideways, and there have been times when I just didn't want to exist anymore. And it's horrible to say, but I think we've got to be, if we're going to have a conversation about ME and ME awareness, suicidal ideation is part of it when you're really, 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 really ill. And if you've been ill for weeks and there's just no end in sight, it's not like over Christmas I caught a stomach bug, and it was just a normal stomach bug. Oh my God, I was so ill, but I knew I'd get better. Give it a week and that was going to go. Which you don't get that with ME. You get weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of feeling utterly, excuse my language, shit. Bit of Anglo-Saxon in there for you. Shit. And I sit at home, my anxiety goes through the roof. And one of the things I have noticed is that when I get really, really poorly, almost my mental state kind of goes into protection mode. Now I've done psychology at A level, and one of the things that it says about is the evolutionary theory of mental illness, and it's the mind that's trying to protect the body. You go into protection mode. So the first thing I do is I start getting anxious, and I get really, really anxious, and I get anxiety issues, which are horrible, and feeling like I'm not good enough and all of that sort of stuff, and I get really paranoid, and nobody likes me, and I then can't leave the house. And then if I still keep pushing through, because I've got a really nasty tendency to do that, even though I've got ME, I'm still learning, guys. This is why I get ill. This is why I get really, really ill. This is like part of the health thing, is not pushing through. It's learning. Body signal says no, and you stop. I'm still learning. But one of the things, I then get depressed. And the depression's horrible. And you know what depression's there for? It's there to make you stop. That's what evolutionary psychology says. It's like depression is there to make you stop engaging in the thing that's making you, is potentially dangerous for you. And that's where it fires up. And, I had fibro for years, and I didn't suffer depression with that because I was still really active. And I was like, is that really part of it? Yeah, it is. It's all part of it. Accept the fact that you're going to get anxiety and depression, and if you have anxiety and depression in that moment, it's not your fault. It's your body saying, hang on, you are doing too much. It's time to back off a little bit and rest. It certainly is in my case. Anyway, so that's kind of the madness that is my year so far. The end of last year, which is why I didn't vlog, it was just too much. And then the beginning of this year, and this year's intentions and focuses, direction of travel, and hopefully, we'll get somewhere. But the first thing I need to do is this is where like I get normal person lazy as well. I need to do some stretching because I didn't stretch out enough yesterday. I'm pretty tight, and that can cause some flaring with the fibro because some muscle fibers are a bit. I need to do some stretching, so maybe we should go do some stretching. All right, lovelies. Yeah, welcome to my 2019 journey to health. Let's do some stretching.